Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Diaries channel. Behind the glitz and glamour of the stage, the cheers of thousands, and the flashing lights that follow every step BTS takes, there are small, quiet moments, fragile and almost invisible, that are often overlooked. Yet these moments are the most real, the most human. Today, we want to bring you into one of those rare moments. A moment so subtle, it passed by unnoticed by many. But for those who truly watch, who truly feel, it was the moment when Jungkook, in the most gentle and unspoken way, confessed his love for Jimin. It wasn't a headline. It wasn't written in bold letters, but it was there, hidden between words, beneath a smile, and in the softness of a gaze. It happened during a casual interview, one that seemed ordinary at first glance. The members were talking about what makes them feel truly loved, about the people in their lives who bring them peace. And that's when it happened. Jungkook turned toward Jimin, and for a split second, everything changed. His eyes softened. His voice grew quiet. With a tender smile playing at his lips, he said, "If I had to choose someone who understands me the most without me having to say anything, it would be Jimin." To the untrained eye, it was just a sweet line. But to those who know Jungkook, to those who have followed his journey, his growth, and his way of expressing emotions, it meant so much more. Jungkook is not someone who says things lightly. He guards his feelings, speaks carefully, and rarely lets his heart speak freely. That one sentence was not just a comment. It was a confession, a whisper of something sacred, a declaration of affection, built not on impulse but on years of deep emotional connection. To some, it might sound like friendship, but to the ones who see through the silence, it was love, pure, unspoken, and raw. The way Jungkook looked at Jimin in that moment told 1,000 stories. The slight pause before he said Jimin's name, the breath he took as if gathering courage, the way his body slightly leaned toward Jimin, as if pulled by a gravitational force only their hearts could feel, all of it was filled with meaning. A message not for everyone, but perhaps just for Jimin. And this isn't new. This wasn't an isolated moment. Throughout the years, Jungkook's feelings have been painted through actions rather than words. There's a gentle way he watches Jimin in crowded rooms, how his smile grows a little wider when Jimin is near, and how he always seems to reach for him without thinking. It's in the way their hands brush, the way Jungkook laughs more freely around Jimin, and the way his eyes linger not out of habit, but out of comfort. One unforgettable instance was after a solo stage concert, when they sat backstage side by side, surrounded by staff and members discussing performances and achievements. Jungkook said something so simple yet so profound. Looking at Jimin, he said, "You make me want to stay on stage." In those few words, he said everything. He didn't credit the crowd, the fame, or even the music. He credited Jimin. That sentence, "You make me want to stay," is something lovers say when they found their home in someone else. But the world moves fast. Fans scream, lights flash, and cameras chase after the next big moment. Many don't see what happens in the quiet spaces between performances, in the stolen glances, or the way two souls dance around each other even when standing still. But for those who notice, who listen with their hearts and not just their ears, the truth has always been there. Jungkook has been speaking, not with volume, but with sincerity. When you begin to piece all these moments together, the long stares, the gentle touches, the subtle praises, the protectiveness, it becomes impossible to deny. Love doesn't always come loud. Sometimes, it's the softest voice in the room. Sometimes, it's the silent way one person becomes the reason another smiles. Jungkook doesn't need to shout that he loves Jimin. He's shown it over and over, in every quiet way possible. And now, looking back, it's all so clear. It's in the way Jungkook relaxes around Jimin, how he chooses to stand beside him in crowded rooms, how his expression softens when Jimin speaks, how he waits, watches, listens always. It's in the laughter they share that no one else seems to understand, in the comfort of sitting together without needing to speak. In the way Jimin makes Jungkook feel safe enough to be vulnerable, to be real, to be himself. So while the world may have missed it, while the news headlines looked the other way, we saw it. We felt it. That simple sentence, "Jimin understands me the most," wasn't just words. It was the truest form of affection Jungkook has ever expressed publicly. It was a confession. Soft, subtle, but so incredibly real. And this brings us back to the present, the moment this video is all about. The confession that wasn't loud. That didn't come with romantic music or dramatic lighting. Just a sentence. Just a look. Just a truth quietly spoken. If I had to choose someone who understands me the most, it would be Jimin. In those words lies 1,000 unsaid things. 1,000 nights of talking behind the scenes. 1,000 shared meals. 1,000 shared dreams. Because in this world where everything is fast and loud, their love, if we may call it, that is slow, quiet, and deeply rooted. Sometimes, fans ask, are they together? But maybe that's not the question that matters most. Maybe the real question is, do they love each other in a way that's real to them? And to that, the answer seems to be yes. In every smile, in every song, in every silent gesture. This is what makes Jikook so special. They're not trying to prove anything. They're just being. And in that being, in their natural closeness, we see something rare. A bond that goes beyond definition. Beyond labels. It's not about what the world sees. It's about what they feel, what they trust, what they choose day after day. So as this story continues, we invite you to keep watching not just with your eyes, but with your heart. Because love like theirs isn't always meant to be shouted from rooftops. Sometimes, it's meant to be felt in the quiet, in the shadows, in the soft light of understanding. Thank you for staying until the end of this video. Because sometimes, the most powerful love stories aren't the ones shouted from rooftops, but the ones whispered in the quiet, shared through eye contact, and carried in every heartbeat. That's the story of Jikook, a love not made for the world to dissect, but for hearts to recognize. Jikook isn't just about two idols standing on the same stage. It's about two hearts walking the same path, finding light in each other, and choosing, again and again, to stay. Not because they have to, but because they want to, because they feel it, because they are home in one another. If this story touched your heart the way it touched ours, don't forget to like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and share it with other Jikookers around the world. Because sometimes, believing in love means believing in the softest of things, the kind that's hard to explain, but impossible to ignore. And as always, this is Jikook Diaries, reminding you, love is real, if you know where to look. Purple Heart.